When children are really angry and or adolescents, it is an indicator they are trying to retrieve their power. And we have a programming on this planet in every single culture that totally disempowers children coming in right out of the gates. And so by the time they're 12, they have been typically completely and totally disempowered because they are looking for their love externally. They're looking for safety and support externally. The parents typically will put the control on the child. And so then the child goes through adolescence, freaking out a little bit because they realize that by 21, 22, 23, hopefully they're standing on their own 2 feet. But the only way they can stand on their own 2 feet and support themselves is if they retrieve all responsibility for all of their needs off of the parent. And so at the age of the womb, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way to 12, you want to be holding a space for the child to retrieve all responsibility for all of its needs off of everyone and everything, which empowers the child. And every time the child says, "You don't love me," you validate, you don't feel loved. And you really want to feel loved. And what you want more than anything is to feel love inside yourself. And you feel like no one loves you. And no one around you might even love themselves. And what you really want is to love yourself deeply. Before you go to what you really want is to love yourself deeply, the light that flows within you. Sit first with letting them have all of that anger and all of those emotions and all of that grief of, I don't feel loved. They're going through a vibrational maturation moment. And you could even silently be saying, okay, use all of your anger, use all of your grief, all of your despair to retrieve responsibility for loving yourself off of everyone and everything, and especially me as the parent. So encourage them to do it, but you do it silently while they're having big emotions. So being loved, being safe, being supported, being valued, those are core needs. And the child needs to retrieve responsibility for meeting these needs. And then if the child is doing this consciously, and you're the parent consciously from 2 to 12, adolescence is a breeze because they just took the first 12 years or 10 years of their life retrieving responsibility for meeting all of their needs deep in their core. And they have this profound sense of self-love off the light that flows within this huge, strong, energetic field. You set them up for success by encouraging them to retrieve responsibility for the needs. Also, too, you want to be modeling that solution to them because again, if you're not loving yourself, you're not controlling yourself, you're looking for validation externally all over the place, then you're essentially going to be saying to the child, this is what we do, this is how we survive. So start shifting your own frame so that you have the capacity to model. And then the anger stops coming up because anger is only there to retrieve responsibility, or the anger is there the child's trying to return responsibility for needs that they're holding that aren't their job. They also might be trying to pull all of their control off of everyone and everything, or they're trying to use the anger to push control that other people have placed on them off. Anger is good. It's a powerful force when we use it appropriately. They also might be feeling anger, trying to return empathic bundles back to their right and perfect place and send appropriate information. And then there's another piece around anger. It's unprocessed grief. So if we have been told, or we tell our children, you're strong, you're capable, this will pass, you'll get over it, you're essentially saying to them, don't be sad, be strong instead. And so then they're going to push their grief down. And when you push your grief down, it turns to anger. And so they have unprocessed grief that is showing up with anger. So go to the holding a safe space for them to grieve any moment that they haven't grieved, and then the anger transforms. So anger can just be an indicator of unprocessed grief or retrieving return of power and responsibilities, and possibly even a cleaning and clearing of the fields. And also too, with anger, we'll want people to respect us. We'll get angry. They don't respect us, but that's a need that we've given away to be respected. We're trying to use the anger to retrieve that responsibility and respect ourselves deep in our core. Grief is a wave of emotion, energy, and motion that often is trying to release old energy, release old patterns.